Have you ever wondered how an empire that once ruled the known world could just disappear? Today, we re-diving deep into one of history's greatest epics, the rise and fall of the Roman Empire. Let's travel back in time. Our story begins not with a grand city, but with a legend. Twin brothers, Romulus and Remus, abandoned and suckled by a she-wolf, would lay the foundation for a future superpower. Legend says Romulus founded Rome on the Palatine Hill in 753 BC, becoming its first king. For over 2 centuries, kings ruled Rome, but the Romans grew tired of monarchy. In 509 BC, they overthrew their last king and established something revolutionary, a republic. Power now rested with the people, represented by the Senate and elected officials called consuls. The famous initials SPQR, Senatus Populus Romanus, meant the Senate and people of Rome. This new system was built on law, debate, and civic duty. But the young republic was not alone. Its greatest rival emerged from across the Mediterranean, the mighty city-state of Carthage. This led to a series of 3 epic conflicts known as the Punic Wars. Imagine the scene: Hannibal, the brilliant Carthaginian general, leading his army, complete with war elephants, across the treacherous Alps to invade Italy. It was a move of pure audacity. Hannibal inflicted devastating defeats on the Romans, but Rome's resilience was incredible. They learned, adapted, and fought back. Under the leadership of Scipio Africanus, Rome finally defeated Carthage, razing the city to the ground. Victory in the Punic Wars made Rome the undisputed master of the Mediterranean. They had conquered their greatest foe and were now poised for even greater expansion. This expansion, however, strained the Republic to its breaking point. Vast new territories brought immense wealth, but it was concentrated in the hands of a few. Social inequality grew, and political rivalries intensified. This turmoil paved the way for powerful generals to seize control. Enter one of history's most iconic figures, Julius Caesar, a brilliant military strategist and a charismatic politician. Caesar conquered Galmadon de France, and his victories made him immensely popular with the people and his soldiers. But the Senate feared his ambition. When they ordered him to disband his army, he made a fateful decision. He crossed the Rubicon River, a symbolic act of defiance that plunged the Republic into civil war. He famously declared, "The die is cast." Caesar emerged victorious and was declared dictator for life. He initiated many reforms, but his absolute power was seen as a threat to the Republic's ideals. In 44 BC, a group of senators, fearing he would become king, assassinated him on the Ides of March. His death, however, did not restore the Republic. Instead, it triggered another round of civil wars. From the chaos, Caesar's adopted son and heir, Octavian, rose to prominence. After defeating his rivals, Mark Antony and Cleopatra, Octavian masterfully consolidated his power. He avoided Caesar's fatal mistake of taking a kingly title. Instead, he took the name Augustus, meaning the revered one, and presented himself as the first citizen, restoring the Republic. In name while holding absolute power in reality. This marked the official end of the Roman Republic and the dawn of the Roman Empire in 27 BC. The reign of Augustus ushered in an era of unprecedented peace and prosperity known as the Pax Romana, the Roman peace. This period lasted for roughly 200 years. Trade flourished along a vast network of roads connecting the empire from Britain to Mesopotamia. A single currency and a unified legal system made commerce easier and safer than ever before. This was a golden age for Roman engineering. They built magnificent structures that still stand today: the Colosseum, a grand amphitheater for gladiatorial games; the Pantheon, with its breathtaking dome; and the aqueducts, marvels of engineering that supplied cities with fresh water. Roman roads, so well built that some are still in use, were the arteries of the empire, allowing legions, goods, and ideas to travel with incredible speed. The empire reached its greatest territorial extent under emperors like Trajan and Hadrian in the 2nd century AD. Trajan's conquests in Dacia brought new wealth, celebrated by the famous Trajan's Column in Rome. His successor, Hadrian, focused on consolidating the borders, building the famous Hadrian's Wall in northern Britain to mark the edge of the Roman world. But what was life like for an ordinary Roman? For the wealthy elite, it was a life of luxury, with lavish villas, extravagant banquets, and political intrigue. For the vast majority, life was much harder. Most people lived in crowded apartment buildings called insulae in the cities, or worked the land in rural areas. They enjoyed public entertainment, like chariot races at the Circus Maximus and gladiatorial contests at the Colosseum, often provided by the state to keep the populace content, the famous bread and circuses. But this golden age couldn't last forever. By the 3rd century AD, the empire was plunged into what historians call the crisis of the 3rd century. It was a perfect storm of problems: constant civil wars as generals fought for the throne, barbarian invasions along the frontiers, a debased currency leading to hyperinflation, and devastating plagues that decimated the population. The empire nearly collapsed. It seemed as though Rome's story was coming to an end. Salvation came in the form of a strong-willed emperor named Diocletian. He realized the empire was too vast for one person to rule effectively. So, he instituted the Tetrarchy, a system of 4 rulers to better manage the sprawling territories and defend its borders. He also enacted sweeping economic and administrative reforms to stabilize the empire. Following Diocletian, another monumental figure emerged: Constantine the Great. Constantine not only reunited the empire under a single ruler, but also made 2 decisions that would change the course of history forever. First, he moved the capital of the empire from Rome to a new city he named Constantinople, modern-day Istanbul. This shifted the empire's center of power eastward. Second, and perhaps most importantly, he became the first Roman emperor to convert to Christianity. His Edict of Milan in 313 AD granted religious tolerance throughout the empire, ending the persecution of Christians and setting the stage for Christianity to become the state religion. Despite these efforts, the western part of the empire continued to weaken. Constant pressure from Germanic tribes along the frontiers, internal political instability, and a struggling economy proved too much to handle. In 410 AD, the Visigoths sacked the city of Rome, an event that sent shockwaves across the empire. The city that had conquered the world was now itself conquered. The final blow came in 476 AD, when the last Western Roman emperor, a young boy ironically named Romulus Augustulus, was deposed by the Germanic chieftain Odoacer. This date is traditionally seen as the fall of the Roman Empire. But did it really fall? The Eastern Roman Empire, later known as the Byzantine Empire, with its capital at Constantinople, thrived for another 1,000 years, preserving Roman law, culture, and knowledge. And the legacy of Rome is all around us. Our languages, Our laws, our architecture, and our political systems all bear the imprint of the Romans. The idea of a republic, the concept of a senate, the principle of innocent until proven guilty, these are all Roman gifts to the world. From a legendary founding by wall-phrased twins to an empire that shaped Western civilization, the story of Rome is a timeless saga of ambition, power, resilience, and collapse. It's a reminder that even the mightiest empires can fall, but their legacy can endure for eternity. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey through Roman history. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next historical deep dive. What part of Roman history fascinates you the most? Let me know in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious.